Welcome to the Friday Sports Buzz here from the iTech Studios. John Lewis alongside Pat Doney from WDRB. Pat, appreciate you being here tonight.
So excited to be here, man. Anytime.
All right, glad to have you here, and we're glad to have you on later if you want to call in on the Goomer & Company Buzz line, 964-2121. A lot to talk about tonight. Of course, Friday night, always a big night of high school hoops, and is there really a bigger tournament other than the Sweet 16 around than the King of the Bluegrass?
King of the Bluegrass, always great, known for its great food, as always, and it was great again tonight. A lot of talent on the stage tonight there at Fairdale High School. Bullitt East played, Butler played. Of course, Bullitt East has Derek Willis, one of the top players in the state, up against Central, and that's Stuart Jackson right there. Stuart Jackson plays for Central. He's one of the best players maybe in the state that's not really known. I had not really heard much about him. He put on a show tonight. He had 26 points against Bullitt East, going head-to-head against Willis. Now, Willis looked good, as you just saw. Nice little dunk there, too. He's getting looked at by Louisville and Kentucky and Indiana, Purdue. He originally committed to Purdue. Right. So a lot of talent in this tournament. I mean, I was impressed tonight.
Started today, runs through Wednesday, and again, really one of the top tournaments, I think, in the state. And as you mentioned, one of the world-class hospitality rooms out there at Fairdale.
No doubt about that. And also on top of that, too, kind of a funny story. They invite a lot of the best teams from around the country into this tournament. One of them, Orange Lutheran from Southern California, is actually one of my rival high schools of the teams that I played in high school out in Southern California. And they are in the King of the Bluegrass tournament here in Louisville, Kentucky from Orange, California. They've got a good program there. Their best players headed to Arizona. He's a good player as well. So a lot of talent. You'll be able to see a lot of good teams in that.
Okay, and again, the championship on Wednesday night out there. So we've talked about the high school basketball here in town. What a lot of people around here are talking about, Pat, is, well, first of all, they're talking about this AP Top 10, or at least the Top 5. And some of the UK fans and U of L fans, UK fans understand they're not number one after the loss to Indiana. But as you take a look at the Top 5, what we were surprised about was Louisville still getting 2 first-place votes, Pat, but behind Kentucky in the Top 5.
You know, it surprised me. I know Kentucky obviously has that great win over North Carolina. I was at that game. It was an amazing environment, a great win for them. But, Louisville has played, they haven't played a cakewalk schedule by any stretch. I know they have played some easy games, but so has Kentucky, so has Ohio State, so has Syracuse. Louisville has beaten Vanderbilt, and that was a great game, a great finish. Vandy's a good team this year. I think Vandy's going to finally get over that hump and win some games in the tournament this season. They're really that deep. And then also, I went to the Butler game, and I know Butler's down from what they normally are, but they're always a well-coached team. Brad Stevens is a great coach. I was very impressed with how Louisville handled the adversity there. Plus, they did that without Peyton Seba, their starting point guard, and they won by double digits there in a very tough place to play in Hinkle Fieldhouse. So Louisville's had some good wins. We'll see how they do tomorrow against Memphis. If they can beat Memphis and beat them handily, I would expect them to maybe get some more votes headed towards the top of the list.
That game tomorrow at the Yum Center, 4 p.m. Memphis and Louisville, for a long time, was a huge rivalry. They were together in the Metro Conference and later in Conference USA. And what's interesting about that game is the last time these two played, they played in one of the best games that I saw. It was the Conference USA Championship down in Memphis, 2005. And since then, though, they haven't played, which is interesting, and it's good that they're getting this back together, and because, Rick Pitino was the guy who really wanted Memphis to join the Big East. And
still does.
And still
does. He was talking about that the other day when we were there at the press conference with him, and he was saying that, he's hoping that Memphis will be a team that the Big East adds. They've already, in his mind, boosted the football part of the conference, adding Boise State and San Diego State. We'll talk about that coming up. Right. But the basketball side, he's really hoping that they're going to add Temple and Memphis to the Big East. That way he doesn't have to worry about playing Memphis in the non-conference. They'll just play each other anyway in the regular season. And you have to admit that would be a good addition to them.
Oh, sure. And you see the new Big East teams now. Boise State and San Diego State come in football only, but they're going to add Southern Methodist, add Central Florida, and add Houston. We'll touch on this later about what this really means for the conference. And you think that football-wise it's going to make it better?
I think it's great. Let's not act as if Pitt or Syracuse have been anything to write home about over the last couple of years. Now, West Virginia is a good program, but even they, this year, Houston and Boise State are both better teams this year than West Virginia. And, at least you can make the case that that's, the way that it is. And then also San Diego State, I've always felt like, is a sleeping giant that eventually could become a great program and could really add a lot. That adds California recruiting to the mix if you get to play a game every other year or so out west. So I think the Big East Football Conference got better than even what they lost. And I mean, it's debatable, no doubt, but I think that it's you can at least make the argument it's at least as good, if not better.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that, and you can certainly weigh in too if you want to on the Goober & Company Buzzline 964-2121. Back to the Memphis U of L game. Memphis, the game against Murray State started off poorly because the PA announcer said that John Calipari was still the head coach, and then they go out to lose against Murray State by 4. Murray State was hitting everything from outside, but how does that bode for Louisville coming in with Memphis needing a win? Memphis underperforming so far. They're 5-3, falling out of the top 25. Then they come in really needing a win at the Yum Center.
I would say that it definitely is not a good thing for Louisville, but at the same time, they have had a week to prepare for this game. They are getting Kevin Ware, who I think is extremely underrated as a point guard as far as the national recruiting and rankings go. The guy is, I mean, the comparable build, I'm not saying he's as good of a player as this guy, but he is built like, with his long arms and about how tall he is as a point guard, he's just like Rajon Rondo.
Right.
That's how he's built. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Rondo. Obviously, he has a long way to go before that, but he's very athletic. Rick Pitino was very excited about him. You could see that in the press conference. He is just building this guy up. Russ Smith was talking about him, saying he picked things up like that. I think Kevin Ware is going to be a sneaky pickup for Louisville as a team who is already a good team. Now they're only going to get better with the addition of Kevin Ware.
Gives them some depth at guard, and Rick Pitino saying he thought he was even more of a point guard than he originally thought, but he can also back up as a forward to Kyle Curry.
Well, here's the best part. I was talking about this with Adam Lefkoe tonight from WHAS, and we were talking about the idea and the possibility. Think about this, of playing Peyton Siva at the point guard, Russ Smith at the shooting guard, Kevin Ware at the 3 guard because he's going to play the 1 and the 3, and then Kyle Currick at the 4. I mean, that's like Villanova as far as the ability to have everybody handle the ball. Everybody can shoot the ball outside. That would be a defensive nightmare for an opponent. Obviously, you couldn't go like that for long term if you're Louisville, but it would at least be a curveball to throw into the mix to really kind of catch the other team off guard, and you'd have some serious quickness on the floor then.
Tomorrow, UK plays Chattanooga. This is a game. This game is probably going to be horrible because UK is a 32-point favorite. It won't be horrible for UK or their fans who really need a win, Pat, after that loss to Indiana.
Yeah, that was a tough loss for them, obviously. I mean, one of the most exciting games you could ever possibly see. I mean, the place was just going absolutely insane. But, you know, I mean, UK needs a win, like you said, needs to get some confidence back, though I don't even think they really lost that much confidence. They seemed to be pretty confident after the game that they would bounce back. And honestly, they were a pretty crazy 3-point shot at the buzzer away from winning a game that they didn't even play that well. So they're going to blow out UT Chattanooga tomorrow night at home. I mean, 32-point favorites. UT Chattanooga is an average to below average Southern Conference team.
3 wins, and one of them was against Division III Spalding here from here in Louisville.
Right.
Pat Doney joins me here in the iTech studios on the Friday Sports Buzz. We're going to take a break. We'll take your calls next, right here on the Friday Sports Buzz.
At Stewart's Pawn Shop, save every day on jewelry, musical instruments, TVs, electronics, and so much more. You'll find lower than wholesale prices on gold chains and rings, and you'll get top dollar when you sell your gold jewelry.
And don't forget, at Stewart's Pawn Shop, we love our customers. Check out these great deals.
U of L and UK t-shirts and hats, $7.99. Tennis bracelets, $199.95. And men's and ladies' 1-carat total weight diamond rings, $499.95. Stewart's has 2 downtown locations to serve you.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
Tronics Country says you're approved, guaranteed.
I wanted a new computer, but I couldn't get financed.
If you have an active checking account and can afford low, flexible payments, you're already approved, guaranteed. There's no credit check, so you won't be turned down.
Tronics Country approved me quickly.
I got instant approval, and it was easy.
And with your paid order, we'll add a free color printer, free MP3 music player, and free LCD TV. Call now and tell us where you want your brand new computer and free gifts shipped today.
had another great episode of 21 Live this week. I told you about 2 brand new restaurants, a hamburger joint called Buns and Angio's Italian restaurant. So you can check out information about those and all the other great restaurant offers that we have for you at shop21live.com. And while you're there, check out our Bluegrass Golf Tour card for 2012, a round of golf and a card at 8 great courses. So check it out online, shop21live.com, and watch us Saturday mornings at 10 a.m.
21 Live, Kentuckiana's live local shopping show.
We are back here on the Friday Sports Buzz from the iTech Studios. WDRB's Pat Doney joined me. And Pat, it's been a while since you can say that you're going to send a local reporter to go cover Indiana and Notre Dame, but IU is certainly back in the mix around town.
Yeah, IU, obviously their biggest win in a long time last Saturday against UK. Now they take on Notre Dame tomorrow afternoon in Indianapolis. That's a big rivalry game, obviously. And, it's tough to argue with IU right now. The first time they're ranked in the top 25, I believe, since 2005. So think about it, 6 years since they've been ranked in the top 25. Tom Crean finally seems to have things going in the right direction. And then you add into the mix that he has a huge recruiting class coming in next year that is full of big-time talent. The Hoosiers might be here to stay. They might be back to being one of those. I don't know if they can hang on to what they're doing so far this year, but I would not be shocked at all to see them taking a big step forward this year and then really being one of those powerhouse names like a Duke in North Carolina and Kentucky and Louisville and all of these types of schools in that mix of the top 10, top 15 every year.
Last week we talked to Pat Graham, a former Indiana player, on our Sports Buzz on radio, and he said he really likes what Tom Crean is doing, not just on the court with bringing in the recruits and getting all the wins, but also trying to repair the rift that happened after Bobby Knight was dismissed up in Bloomington. And certainly that goes a long way when you go undefeated and then when you beat number one at home.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That's not an easy situation to walk into. And, he's taken some criticism over the last couple of years that, hey, can this guy really do this? Can this guy really get the program going in the right direction? Well, he has Cody Zeller now. He has a lot of good young players. A lot of these guys that are his best players this year will be back next year. And hey, maybe they're back.
And Jordy Hulse, this kid.
He could shoot the lights out.
What he has done from behind the three-point arc this year has been amazing.
It's been great.
And, of course, they win on a 3 from Christian Watford.
Right.
Let's switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about football now. U of L back in the postseason again, and we thought they might actually back up right into the Orange Bowl. Didn't happen, but they are in the Belk Bowl, and they're going to play NC State. And from what we're hearing right now, it could be a very NC State kind of crowd because they have sold more than their allotment of tickets. They had an allotment of 12,500 tickets, but they've already sold 24,000.
And maybe the Orange Bowl is wishing that Louisville had gone. Both West Virginia and Cincinnati. West Virginia. Who are they taking on? Clemson. In the Orange Bowl. Neither of them have sold their allotted tickets. They've got a couple thousand to go. So I would not be shocked at all if the Orange Bowl saying, hey, Louisville could have sold these tickets. Maybe we should have taken them. It obviously didn't have a choice. But Louisville going to the Belk Bowl is a huge deal. Second bowl game in a row. We got some big news tonight, actually, at WDRB that Michael Lee Harris, the star wide receiver for Louisville, he very well might be out. That according to thecardconnect.com. And we talked to the U of L Sports Information Department. They said that they could not, they've not updated his status just yet, but they did not say that he wasn't going to be out. So he tore his MCL last year, so that would be a big hit to the Cardinals. But overall as a program, though, hey, it's a bowl game that's near New Year's, a couple days before. Sure. NC State's a well-known program around the country. It's a step forward. You got to say that.
NC State upset Clemson, that you mentioned, upset UNC and upset Virginia.
Sure.
Won 5 of their last 7. So a team that they're not just playing somebody they can run over.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that it's going to be a tough test for them for sure.
Okay, let's go to the Goomer Company Buzz line. Mike is on the line. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
You guys kind of switched topics on me there.
That's all right.
Talking about basketball when I first called.
Okay.
I was just what I was calling about was Kentucky was talking about their schedule, about trying to schedule U of L and North Carolina and Indiana, and not wanting to really drop one of them. They need to go back to that Big Four tournament that they used to have years ago and put all 4 of those, like IU and Notre Dame and Kentucky and U of L, and play those teams 1 out of every 3 years, and that would solve all their problems as far as who to schedule and who not to schedule.
Mike, I think that's a great idea, but
Yeah,
I think before that happens, I think they might bring back the old UKIT when Kentucky used to bring in like Morehead State and would bring in Eastern Kentucky. They'd bring in some of the.
You can bring in Murray State now.
I don't know if they want to bring in Murray State right now.
I'm telling you what.
But they would bring in some of the statewide teams. This was back in the Rick Pitino era, and the UKIT was probably started, I would guess, probably during the Joe B. Hall era, and they would bring those teams into Rupp Arena as kind of a tournament. But yeah, there was a lot of talk. Now, John Calipari has backtracked a little bit. He said he was trying to take the temperature of Big Blue Nation by posting this on his website and tweeting it out about if we had to drop one of the series, who would we drop, IU, UNC, or U of L? Obviously, none of the voters really wanted to drop U of L.
Right.
And it was surprising most of them wanted to drop Indiana.
Yeah, you know, I would actually be surprised if it's either of those. North Carolina, I know nobody wants to see them go off the schedule. I don't want to see them that happen at all. But it was just announced that the ACC has bumped their number of conference games. It's going to start, I believe, next year to I think it's 18, which it used to be 16. Is that right?
That's what the SEC was too.
That's a guesstimate if it's not right. But the point is whenever these schools bump the games that they are required to play, then it's going to make it tougher and tougher for non-conference games to continue to happen on a regular basis. And I think you could see that with Louisville and Memphis, for example. One of the reasons may have been the number of games that they were required to play in their respective conferences. So I would not be surprised if that's what ends up happening. If one of them goes, it may just be North Carolina, even though nobody wants to see that happen. Maybe the coaches do, because it's such a tough matchup for them. But I would say every fan, every reporter, everybody involved in that game would love to see those two teams play every year. But if there's one, I'm going to say that's my guess of the one that would probably go.
I could see that happening, and with the SEC maybe bumping up to 18 games per season.
Doesn't help.
But Calipari's argument was it really didn't help us in the RPI and that kind of thing. But playing devil's advocate here, if it doesn't count for you in the RPI when you win, does it really count against you when you lose?
That's a great point. And, I would disagree with him and say it didn't help him with the RPI. I think everybody in the country was talking about that big game between North Carolina and Kentucky pulling that out. So I think it helps him a lot.
And let's real quick going back to football. We talked about U of L. We talked about Charlie Strong, who will coach in this game because Charlie Strong is staying. Pat, you and I had not really a debate, but we had a discussion about this. I really thought Charlie Strong was going to be on the short list of a lot of teams, and he was on the short list of Texas A&M from everything that we heard. I think that Kevin Sumlin was obviously higher on that list. That's who they hired from Houston. But we're going to be talking about this. As long as Charlie Strong wins 7, 8 games, whatever, and keeps doing the job he's doing, we're going to have this discussion every year.
But I think it was pretty interesting, the statement that he made in the press conference this week on Monday, basically saying there's no reason Louisville can't be like Boise State, like Kansas State, like these programs that, have kind of, I don't want to say come out of nowhere, because Louisville has more tradition than those schools do.
Sure.
But at the same time, I mean, the comments that he made were very pro staying for a long time. And I know that Petrino did the same thing when he was here. I understand that. What I'm basically trying to say is just that I kind of think the guy's going to be here for a while. The only job that I think that he would leave for in the immediate next couple of year future would be the Florida job. And that's because where he came from. And that's just such a tough job to turn down, because Florida is just so rich in recruiting every single year that you're giving yourself a huge advantage by starting there and being in the SEC East. And, I think that would be the only one that I could see him really considering leaving in the near future. I think he's going to be around for a while, though.
Okay. I would disagree with that. I think maybe another year or two, but...
You have the right to be wrong. That's okay.
I've been wrong before, right?
Sure.
All right. We're going to take another break here. If you want to get in on the discussion, call the Goomer & Company Buzz line 964-2121. You're watching the Friday Sports Buzz from the iTech Studios.
Pimp out your ride at Smart Shoppers, 4200 Produce Road. That's Smart Shoppers, 4200 Produce Road to pimp out your ride. They are open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. They are the largest car audio dealer in the city of Louisville. No better place for paint or body work in the city than Smart Shoppers. You need rims, stereos, amps, paint, anything you need. Call 964-6652 or go to smartshoppers.com. That's Smart Shoppers, 964-6652.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
Attention parents and grandparents of young children. Gerber Life is accepting applications for their affordable Grow-Up Plan. The Grow-Up Plan gives your child $10,000 in whole life insurance protection now, then doubles automatically to $20,000 later at no extra cost. Free information will be sent to parents and grandparents who call now. Help give your child a head start for just pennies a day. Don't wait. Call now for free information.
Call 1-800-974-8296. Call now.
Attention, all Medicare beneficiaries who need assistance getting around their home. Imagine one scooter or power chair that could improve your mobility and your life. One Medicare benefit that, with private insurance, may entitle you to pay little to nothing to own it. One company that can make it all happen.
Your power chair will be paid in full.
The Scooter Store.
Call the Scooter Store for free information today.
Call 1-800-644-9570 for free information. That number again is 1-800-644-9570.
What do you like about the Red and Blue Review?
I like it because we're a split household, and it tells me and my husband both all of the great things about our team.
I'm a real big Kentucky fan, but I like to keep up with Louisville stuff, too.
You get to see the pros and cons. They show the good, they show the bad. They show the U of L, which is the good, and they show the UK, which is the bad. I absolutely love watching the Red and Blue Review.
Friday Sports Buzz from the iTech Studios, WDRB's Pat Doney joining me. And Pat, we talked earlier, kind of skimmed over it about the new Big East and what we're going to see. And you really feel like, football-wise, that the Big East has made some huge strides.
Well, I mean, look at the additions. Boise State and San Diego State in football only, as you see, SMU, UCF, and Houston. I mean, out of the teams that left, West Virginia, Syracuse, and Pitt. And if you list those three schools along with those schools on the screen there, those 5 schools that are added to the mix, out of there, if you had to rank number 1, the best football team out of the 8 schools, Boise State's number 1. And number 2 probably would be West Virginia. But you could make an argument that Houston would be up there with Pitt and Syracuse, the way that those two teams have underachieved the last. Doesn't it seem like every year Pitt is ranked in the top 15 to 20 to start the year?
Always fall
and they
out.
end the year with like 6 losses, and it's just like, what happened? You know, and now they've got a coach that's left them after he was planning on being there forever, after 10 months, you know, so they're in disarray. Syracuse has not done anything since Donovan McNabb and Marvin Harrison were there, and Donovan McNabb is now no longer doing anything in the NFL, and neither is Marvin Harrison. And so it's been a long time since those two teams have been good. I think the Big East took a step forward in football. I know that it's weird with the whole, it shouldn't be called the Big East anymore, and San Diego and Boise are a long way away. But if you're looking at it from a pure talent and how good the football teams are that joined the conference, I think it's hard to argue with it. I think it's better. I really do. I think it took a step forward in football.
Well, you talked about the NFL, and the story this year in the NFL is not that the defending Super Bowl champions are undefeated. Everybody's forgotten about that, apparently. That should be the big story. But the big story is Denver Broncos quarterback Tim Tebow. And he has his detractors, and he has the people who really thinks that he's the next big thing. Pat, he is a polarizing figure, but I don't think that he's a polarizing figure, and you may disagree with me. I don't think he's a polarizing figure because of who he is. I think he's a polarizing figure because of what he's doing and how he's doing it.
Well, I think there's a little bit of each involved in there. I think because of who he is and the way that he expresses his faith, I think sometimes that does rub some people the wrong way. They feel like it's in their face when, honestly, the guy's not doing anything to put it really in your face, I don't feel like. I feel like when the media shows nonstop footage of him, you know, saying a quick prayer or something like that, and the Tebowing thing and all, he has nothing to do with that. I mean, the guy should be allowed to say a quick prayer whenever he wants to. It's just blown up into that. I do think, though, it has more to do with the style of quarterback that he is. And I think that this is where you and I tend to disagree in that I think that he's revolutionizing the position. I think that he is showing that there is more than one way to win as a quarterback in the NFL. Do I think Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are unbelievable and better than Tim Tebow? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Aaron Rodgers may be having the best year we've ever seen as a quarterback in the NFL. But I think that just because we've never seen somebody used as a combo fullback quarterback, which is what he is, and an almost unstoppable short distance, short yardage, runner at the quarterback position, doesn't mean that it can't work and doesn't mean that the Denver Broncos should go away from it. And they're winning games with him at the position, and I know what you're going to say. They're not winning because of him, and that's true. The defense has played unbelievable, but you cannot deny the fact that it is the same team. The same team was 1-4, and then he started games, and they are now 7-1 since he started. Is it all Tim Tebow? Absolutely not. Anybody who says that is ridiculous. But he has had something to do with it. There is no doubt about that, and you have to admit he has had something to do with this, and knocking it is, I think, irresponsible.
Irresponsible.
I'm going to go ahead and just use the word irresponsible.
Irresponsible journalism to knock it.
I think so.
He has revolutionized the position by being a quarterback who can't throw. I mean, this is like something you see from Rudolph in the Island of Misfit Toys. He's a quarterback who can't throw. Now, okay, did he throw in the fourth quarter against Chicago? Yes, he did. But he is absolutely one of the most fortunate NFL players I've ever seen. If the other team doesn't make absolutely atrocious, huge football mistakes in the fourth quarter, we're not talking about Tim Tebow. We're talking about John Fox losing his job. Because what he has done, his defense has put him in a position to win, yes, and it's a team game. His special teams has put him in a position to win. But most of all, in almost every one of his 7 wins, the other team has put him in a position to win.
Would you consider him a clutch player?
All right.
No.
Okay.
Answer the question.
Okay. It is a simple
Would you consider him to be a clutch player in the NFL so far?
Yes, he is a clutch player. My question to you is, why does he have to be a clutch player? Why do they have to have all these fourth quarter comebacks?
Because a combination of the Denver Broncos offense, led by Tim Tebow, scores fewer points than the Denver Broncos defense gives up. That's very basic and obvious. To make it seem like just because Tim Tebow has not played great at the quarterback position is the only reason why they're trailing in the fourth quarter, again, irresponsible journalism in my opinion. No, but I'm just saying, I think that it's the quarterback position, as we all know. You get too much praise when things are going great.
True.
You get too much of the criticism when things are going poorly. But I do think he's brought something to the team, and I think everybody who talks to the team on a daily basis they say the team believes in the guy. And there has to be something to be involved with that.
I don't doubt they believe in him, but here's what
he makes plays when it matters, and he has to. Every single time.
But he makes no plays in the first 3.5 quarters.
But he makes plays when he has to.
His defense is 4th in interceptions for touchdowns, 7th in defensive touchdowns, period.
I wonder where they were ranked in all of that when they were 1-4.
That defense got better as it went along.
Sure.
Do you think Kyle Orton would have gotten worse?
I don't think the team would have been. I don't think the team would have gone 7-1.
You don't think they played for Kyle Orton?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have been 7-1 over the last 8.
We'll find out when they play the Patriots this Sunday.
All right.
He's Pat Doney. I'm John Lewis. Thanks for joining us on the Friday Sports Buzz.